Hey guys, it's Alex here, and I am back finally with a update on my quest to break the world record for the longest save in Football Manager. It has been a year and a half now, I think, since I made that first video, and we have got a good bit in the journey. We've got 50 years through with Barrytown United now. A lot has happened in that year and a half. We've seen some incredible things in the game, some incredible things outside the game too. Mainly that the world record has been broken again, so our journey's got a little bit longer. But yes, let's just take you into it and show you what's been going on. Okay, so we are here. This is my little sort of guideline of the world records and the major landmarks I need to get to break the world record. So, last time the world record was set by Sepp Heddle, 333. He held the record after beating Mikael Leniek's 221 seasons. And since then, we've seen a world record break of Sepp Heddle's one. So as you can see there, firstly, 354 seasons for one of my viewers, actually, Nizzy. He didn't break the world record, although he has got a save that far in the future. He submitted it to get the world record. However, he found something out that I don't think many of us knew, is that you have to be at a club the entire time. I think everyone knew this, but you cannot have more than 6 months between clubs. So say you resign from your job in January. If you do not find a new job by 6 months from then, June, July, that sort of time, your record will not stand. They won't accept it because they'll say that you're basically going through the game faster than you would be at a club job. So thankfully, upon checking mine, I didn't spend longer than 6 months between a club job. But I put Nizzy up there to give him the recognition because I think that's a bit shit. I think he only had about 8 months between jobs. And this is not total, so you could theoretically do a new job every season and have month. It's just 6 months continuously between a job. So I've probably had more than 6 months in total out of a job, but they just don't want people sort of having a year off and then a year on and then a year off and stuff like that. However, as you can see there, right at the top is Pavel Szczynski, 416 seasons. That is the new world record. It's been increased by nearly 100 years, incredibly. So I knew about it because it took him he's on Twitter. He was posting a lot about his submission. It takes about 5-6 months for them actually to process it. So I knew it was coming. It was just... I couldn't believe it. I think we were probably about 70 or 80 years off of Sepp Heddle's record when this came through. And then I went, oh, okay. So now instead of 70 or 80 years, we've got 150 years. And as you can see, we're at 274 years in. So we still haven't beaten Sepp's record. But we've got a long way to go still. 130 seasons, 140 nearly. So, yes, our road has actually gotten, in retrospect, I think we probably got further away from the world record than when we were when I did the last update. But yeah, let's actually get into the save and I can tell you what's been going on and how things are. Hey, quick interlude to say I stream this save every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday live on my Twitch at Smorry7. So if you want to come and join and view how this save is going and find your club and how they're doing 200 years into the future, come join us. So there's a little plug there. Okay, back to the video. Okay, so we are here with Barry in the year 2290. So we are 50 years on from when we took charge, and a lot has changed. So as you can see at the moment, we have a worldwide reputation. We are professional, we are rich, and we are currently in the Champions League. If we look at our club information, as you can see, our media prediction is first. There's Champions League. We have a 1.74 billion estimated value, and as you can see, a lot of legends now. Lots of players coming through the club. So I guess we'll take you, well, facilities as well. We'll go through the facilities. We're currently sitting in the 65,000 seater Moore Stadium, which is our second stadium we've built. So doing very, very well there. We've got top corporate, state-of-the-art training, top youth facilities, exceptional junior coaching, and extensive youth recruitment. And we have a number of affiliates. As you can see, interesting, you've got Birmingham there. We got St Etienne, Bologna, Chievo, Palermo, Pescara, Sampdoria, and Torino, Toulouse. So as you can see, we've had a lot of them throughout the years as they vary. But yeah, let's take you back to, I guess, the start, which is our first season in charge. So we took over Barry. We left Haverfordwest, who were dominant champions, and went to Barry, who finished 9th the previous year. So our first season, we did very well, actually. We got to 6th. I mean, they got sacked for it, hilariously. Basically, I think I've told you before, the Welsh League is split into 2. It's kind of like Scotland, where halfway through you get 22 games in, and then you have a league split between the top 6 and the bottom 6, and then you have to play the other 5 teams twice. The problem with this is that we got into the top 6 on our first go round, and as you can see, Afton, Lido, Port Talbot, Pennybont, Haverfordwest are all teams we've managed before, and Aberystwyth are also a super team themselves. So it was basically 5 super teams and us in our first year, and this is our schedule. So you can see we were a few wins, few losses here, and then we lost 9 out of the 10 games to finish the season in the league. We did end up winning in the Europlaces playoff final versus Tom Pentra, but basically the board threatened to sack us if we didn't get something like 7 points in our next 3 games. Thankfully we did, and that's the closest we came to getting sacked. But yeah, bit scary that. But onwards from that, we went up to 5th. That was quite nice. We got into the Europa League as well. I can go through Europe in a little bit later, but we'll go through the league campaigns first. Then we went up to 4th. Nice little quick rise here. The thing we were doing with Barry was that we were only signing players that weren't in the top 15 nations. So we'd go look at the world rankings each year, right here. So you just basically the end of each season, I would go to this screen if it loads. Here we go, and then go look at the nations and go, okay, no one in the top 15 we can sign. It would be nice now because we can sign English players. They've never normally been out of the top 15. Yeah, so it made a bit of a different transfer strategy for us. So I think if we go to our transfers and go to our transfer history, you'll be able to see a lot of sort of Czech Republic, a lot of Serbia, a lot of Croatia, sort of those sort of smaller nations that aren't normally as visible. So as you can see, we've got like, yeah, he's Greek, we've got Austrian, some Norwegians, I think Swedish, Scotland, Poland, sort of lots of different, there's Serbia, as you can see from Partizan, but a lot of sort of, I wanted to try and manage players with different nations, not the big teams, because obviously in Football Manager 15 there's no dynamic youth rating, so kind of the nations all stay the same generally. But yes, we are up to 4th in our 3rd year, stayed 4th again, and then we won the league. Yeah, crazy, absolutely crazy. In our 6th year, we won the league. So to show you what happened in this season, we actually won it against Haverfordwest on the final day of the year with a 87th minute goal from John Jurgens, who was actually a Dutch player. They dropped out of the top 15 and he was the only Dutch player we could sign. But yes, just an incredible game. Basically what happened here was, as you can see in the previous few years, once we took over, you have Haverfordwest on 86, Haverfordwest on 82, on 75, on 85, on 88, unbeaten, and then suddenly they won 64. They had a manager who took them all the way to here, and then he resigned. So they got a new manager in, and he was trying this really weird formation that obviously did not work in the match engine. And basically, Haverfordwest completely collapsed, which is why we won the league. We were able to capitalise. As you can see, the next year, they sacked him and got an actual competent manager in, and they only lost 1 game all year to us, and we came 2nd. But after that, we then had a 1-point win over them. And again, 2 years in a row. And then this is the point where we start to dominate, and we sort of don't look back, and we don't lose the league since that point. We kind of we've hit a few unbeaten seasons in here. We were trying to get an all-win season for quite a long time, and it didn't come until 85, 86. But the big reason why this happens is because you've got now 6 big teams, and these 5 big teams are always taking points off of each other. So as long as we don't lose points to these teams, they kind of cannibalize each other in seconds. So there's never sort of of like a second place team that will fight us all the way. Instead, we've got 5 second place teams that are all fighting each other as well. It's kind of like we don't have a Barcelona Real Madrid system. But it's kind of like if Barcelona were at the top and then you had 5 Real Madrids, and of course they're so good they're going to fight each other, but they're just not good enough to face us. So as you can see, look, second place lost 8 times. 4 of them were to us, but they lost to everyone else, and they got 10 losses in third. So they all lose to each other. But yeah, we never look back after this. We had a very, very good time, and we now have a good amount of leagues. I think something like 30. Let's have a look. If we look at our competition, we now have 52, but that does include a few from the old Barry. But European-wise, we also did very well. Basically, our first venture into the Europa League was, where was it? 22-41. We got to the first knockout round. That was pretty decent. Lost to Stade Rennais. Then we got to the quarterfinal, lost to Benfica. It's 22-43. We lost to Inter in the first knockout round, and then we lost to Bayern in the first knockout round as well. So we never really did very well in the Europa League. But to be fair, Benfica, Inter, and Bayern, pretty tough, especially when we look at what happens with Benfica in the Champions League. The Champions League, we've done a lot better in. So the first time we qualified, we came third and obviously dropped down. We also then the next year lost in the playoffs to Monaco, so we went dropped into the Europa League, and then from then on we got a first knockout round, a quarterfinal versus Ajax, another first knockout round, and then 22-49 we won the Champions League for the first time ever. Incredible. We beat Benfica, who had actually knocked us out in the Europa League. That first time we were, well, one of the first times we were in there. If I go to the Champions League, I can show you the fixture, I think. Hold on, for stages. And that was 22-49, was it, I think? Maybe. Okay, no, never mind. It was it's weird. Okay, it was the 10-year anniversary, so it was a huge game, and we won 4-2. It was incredible. One of our strikers got a hat-trick in the game. Juan Manuel Poggers, who was a favourite nicknamed. His name wasn't Poggers. His name was Juan Manuel Barrios, but he got re-nicknamed. And we won our first Champions League versus Benfica. And from then on, it became kind of we've had a very, very successful time in the Champions League. We beat Benfica. We did a 3-peat. We came back and beat Real Madrid. Then we beat Porto. And then we lost in the semi-finals. PSG won it a couple of times. Then Lyon. So we missed out for 3 years in a row. Then we won it back. Beat Sporting. Beat Lyon. Then we lost to Angers. The first time ever winning the Champions League for them. And then we have a good run here. We win it, I think, 6-7 times in a row. And within that, we played PSG 4 times. Our rivalry with PSG is one of the greatest rivalries ever. It would be a dynamic rivalry if it was in the game. But yeah, 3 seasons in a row we hit the final versus them. Then we beat Afan Lido as well. We've also beaten Port Talbot and then PSG again. We then lost to PSG for the first time ever in a Champions League final. Beat Monaco, lost to Porto, and then we beat Bayern, Benfica, Penibon, Benfica, Newcastle, who came to power, Monaco, PSG again, Angers, Monaco, PSG again, Afan Lido. We then lost, I think, in the semis or the quarters this year, and Ajax won the Champions League over another Welsh side there. But then we won it back versus Lille, Lyon, Ajax, Port Talbot, Monaco twice. Then we lost again. Port Talbot actually kept the Welsh streak running though versus Arsenal, Benfica, and Monaco again. So we've got this rivalry going with Monaco as well. I just want to show this PSG rivalry. I think we've played them in 6 or 7 finals and at least 11 times in the Champions League semi-finals. It was at one point there was a stat I think we had where basically half the times we got to the knockout rounds we would face PSG at some point. Yes, this is the one. This is the one we won 11-9 on aggregate. I couldn't believe it. We won 5-4 away and 6-5 at home. One of the craziest set of games we've ever played. But yeah, we're very, very successful in the end. I'll show you our trophy cabinet. It is very, very full. We've got 33 Champions League wins and 2 runners-up. Got a lot of Club World Cups, European Super Cups. We won the Welsh Premier League Cup 35 times, including our former times, and the Welsh Cup 40 times. Welsh Premier League Cup did take us a while to win, actually. It took us until 2249.50 to win. It took us 10 years, and we also missed out on it for 6 years. So it's definitely been our toughest one. One of the main reasons is the semi-final is during an international break. So if you have lots of internationals, they suddenly just all leave, and you're just left with under-19s players. So that's how we lose a lot of the times in that cup. And then the Welsh Cup, we've just won it against Port Talbot there, but we're a lot more successful in it, although it did take us a while to win it to 22-47-48. Did get to a final versus Haverfordwest, but lost it. But yeah, pretty successful in that as well. So we've done very, very well with us. We've also had 2 new stadiums built during our time here. If I go to landmarks, here we go. Hold on, it's loading. There we go. Landmarks. I think if I go to facilities, we basically moved to a new stadium and only got ready to 11,000. So then we had to wait a while, and we've just built it in 2279, called the Moore Stadium, named after me. And now we're waiting until 2299 to build our 3rd stadium, hopefully 100,000, because once we have a 100,000 seater, we will move on. So as you can see, we have 3 at 65,000 and 2 at 100. We want to move Barry up to 100,000, and then we'll move on to our 6th club in the league and see if we can do the same with them. So we've only probably got about 15-20 years left with Barry, I assume. We've got basically 9 years before we can start building a new stadium, and then it'll take a few more years on from that. So I'm assuming 15 to 20 years. But yeah, Barry's had a great time. We've had a number of incredible players come through our ranks. We've had a few Ballon d'Or winners as well. Who is, I guess, our biggest players? Well, we'll go to our Ballon d'Or winners because those ones, I guess, are the cream of the crop, even rated by the game. Some of our players definitely aren't rated by the game. But as you can see here, our first winner was actually Christian Neom, who's just retired actually from a staff. He was our under-19s manager. He was a Cameroonian right winger that we converted to striker, and he became incredible. He won 4 Ballon d'Ors for us. We signed him for, I think, £7,000, and he was incredible. He was really, really good. Won 4 Ballon d'Ors with us, and just so cheap. And we sold him at 35 for a profit, incredibly, to PSG. And he scored against us in the Champions League, so even more of a bit of a rivalry there. Then we had Brandan win it, a random Argentinian sentiment. I think it was because Argentina won the World Cup that year. And then we had Oscar Freitas, OJF. He is currently in our under-19s. He was incredible. He won 4 Ballon d'Ors with us, got 50 goals in a year, I think a couple times. He was really, really good. As you can see, an 8.39 average rating with 58 goals in 46 games. You can't see, I think, yeah, you can see it a little bit down the bottom there. But yes, he was very, very good as well. We then also had, who else? Dimitri Prisic, our first ever right back to win the Ballon d'Or for us. Incredible Serbian right back. He was a right winger that we converted to right back. This is a common theme with us, is because we don't play with wingers, we play a 4-3-3. Is the joke is if they're a winger, they can get converted to a fullback, and they become incredible, because crossing in this game is ridiculously overpowered. So he had a lot of assists. If we can, wait, if we show here, yeah, 17 assists in 38, and then 34 in 50. So he had a very good average rating as well. Also another striker winning the Ballon d'Or there. And then our most recent, I'll go to the World Player, because I think I use the World Player, Golden Ball World Player. He won 7 in a row. Vela, and his first was at 30 years old. He's won 7 World Players of the Years at 30. So as you can see, we started as a left winger, actually. We played him at left back. He was okay. This is the year we converted him to right back. And then he just went on 35 assists, 44 assists, 31 assists, 40, 34, 40 assists. This guy, he still plays, but he's 38 now. He probably should have won it in 22-88 as well. He's ridiculous. He was a left winger. I was going to sell him because I was playing him at left back, and I'm like, he's shit. And I was like, oh wait, he's right-footed. Let me train him to play right back, and we'll put him there. And then he just became like Trent Alexander-Arnold on steroids. Like, it was ridiculous how many assists he got. As you can see, he got 44 assists in 44. Well, in the last year, he's 38 now. He's not playing anymore because he is just falling apart. He's 38, and he is about to become a staff member. But as you can see here, you can see the difference. Basically, he was playing as a left back here. You can see he got some 7s, nearly an 8, and then this is the year we converted into a right back. 8.4. He got an 8.83 average rating in the league. 8.8. I don't think I've ever seen something that high. He got just a ridiculous amount of assists. 39 assists and 10 goals. Like, it is bonkers for a right back. It wasn't like he's playing right wing. He's a right back. Yeah, one of the craziest players ever. 7 World Player of the Years, starting at 30 years old. Yeah, he was incredible. But yeah, that's the club. We've got our plan. We're going forward. We're very dominant at the moment. We've just actually, if I think I show you here, in the recent season, we had some testimonials. We won the Super Cup versus Lorient. We won the Club World Cup versus Sao Paulo, the Welsh Premier League Cup versus Afan Lido, and won the Champions League and Welsh Cup versus Monaco and Port Talbot, and won the league, of course. So very, very dominant at the moment. So we're going to continue with them, and then eventually we'll move on to our next club. Our squad is looking very good. They're all on holiday, well, all preparing for the World Cup that's coming up in 2290. But yeah, we've got a fantastic group of players here, let's go look around the leagues and see what's been going on. Okay, so, well, firstly is the Welsh League. Obviously, we dominate it, but what's been going on in the sort of places below first? As you can see here, recently, Bala jumped into 5th spot. We've started to see some of my former clubs actually dropping down into this sort of 7th place level, because there's so many top clubs playing each other. If they get on a bad run of form, like Haverfordwest, they can fall into that relegation zone. Pennybont have done it, Haverfordwest have done it, Aberystwyth have done it, I think Port Talbot have done it. I don't know about Afan Lido, but yeah, so occasionally it's not like a complete fallout. We're still the top sort of teams. If I show you, actually, this gives an indication of the strength of the teams. If I go to salary, as you can see, we've 152, 106, we're on 102, 95, 89. You can see Haverfordwest actually have dropped off a lot. They were very, very dominant for a good while, and then they've really dropped off, so they're more likely to drop down. But yeah, and then you can see the drop to Pala, though, 3 million compared to 64 million. There's the big 6, and then there's everyone else. But an interesting thing also is that there's no TNS here. TNS were the dominant team, and they got relegated 4 years ago. They've been relegated a couple times now, and this is the longest they've been out of the league. One of the interesting things that happens with, obviously, the Welsh League is because there's only one league in the game. Once you get relegated, you go into the sort of non-league, not like the Panorama Conference or South. It's just you're out of the game entirely. And how the game decides to promote teams is based on reputation. So we've got in this weird sort of situation, because basically if you play in our league's the 1st or 2nd ranked league in the world, so once you play in it, your reputation gets boosted loads. So as you can see here, we've kind of got in this situation where Goitra, who are in the non-leagues, not clickable, can't click it, they got a 4-star rating. Real Ridmwyn, Carmarthen, TNS, Convy, and sometimes Thanethi. Terrible pronunciations, I know, I'm sorry. It's been 270 years. I still can't pronounce any of them. They are basically the same teams will always come up and down. There's basically zero chance for Buckley or Sefton Druids or Presterton to come up, because they're a half-star, and it's all based on chance, on reputation. There's only 2 spots, so you have about 6 or 7 of these hugely rated clubs that will always come up. So if we actually go back through the leagues, you see Convy and Tom Pentra, Real Goitra, Ridmwyn Tom Pentra, Carmarthen Convy, Real TNS, Newtown Goitra, Ballabang. It's the same sort of... you don't really see any other teams there. You don't see Presterton, you don't see Monmouth, you don't see any of those small teams. It's just the same 6-7 teams going up and down. It'd be really... I would love... in obviously the recent games we have the lower leagues of Wales. It would make this game so much more cooler, but unfortunately we have to make do. But yes, that is the Welsh League. So we are currently ranked 2nd in the world. Let's take you to France, who are currently just jumped us for 1st rank. We fight with France a lot. They are probably one of the second the best teams. And as you can see, Monaco have just won it. Basically, it's weird. There's a lot of tycoons go to France, which is interesting, as you can see. So we started with Lyon winning, and Monaco, PSG, just sort of all trading it, and then Angers get a tycoon. And as you can see here, the Angers dominance kicks in over about 15 years, them just absolutely dominating. PSG, by the way, coming second about 8 times in a row there. PSG didn't win the league from 2261 till 2288, so that kind of shows. But yeah, Monaco also now are the dominant team. So yeah, there's been a bit of a shift there, but as you can see now, you've got Monaco, Lyon, Lille, PSG, Angers, Lorient have a tycoon. I think FC Ists have a tycoon. So we'll have to see. Marseille have just got relegated. I'll take you through the other leagues here. You've got League 2, which is Nice down here. There's Nantes, Strasbourg, Nancy Lorraine down here, and then we've got this French National, where we've got Bastia, Montpellier down there, and I think that's it really. But yeah, the French league is very, very strong. We face them a lot in the Champions League. So next up, we've got La Liga, who are currently ranked 4th at the moment. Barcelona have won, so nothing's changed, right? No, this is very different from actually what's happened normally. Barcelona weren't very good for a long time. As you can see, we were in 2240, it was the last time we updated you. We had Valencia, then we had a Real Madrid domination for 10 years. Then we have Villarreal, I think a tycoon, Getafe, tycoon, Valencia, Getafe, Valladolid, more Valencia, Sociedad, Real Betis, and then Barcelona, 2285, win their first league since 2236. So nearly 50 years Barca went without a league title, but now they've won 2 in a row. So this is what La Liga looks like currently. Barcelona on top, Valladolid, Sociedad, Betis, Real Madrid. You've got teams like Puertollano, Cartagena, Baracaldo, Lucena. We had Merida up here. So very interesting there. Here's Liga Adelante. You've just got the playoffs going with Albacete, who's our affiliate. This is how we get all our South Americans, by the way. We have Albacete, and we send everyone there because it only takes them 2 years. If I go to my loans, you could see we currently have many players. This is actually quite low for us. At one point, I had to ban the signings of South Americans because we signed so many. Because Argentina dropped out of the top 15 once, and I think I signed about 30 Argentinians. So for a good 10, 20 years, we banned South American signings. But yeah, you've got... who have you got down here? You've got Oviedo, Numancia, Levante, Athletic Bilbao getting relegated from the Liga Adelante down to the 3rd division. That'll be interesting to see how they do. And then, of course, the 3rd division's got B1 here. Las Palmas, they've won a league before. Got Celta, Racing. Who else have we got? I don't think anyone there. B2. We've got Ponferradina. They've won a league title before, and now they're down in the 3rd divisions. It's all about tycoons, basically. If you get a tycoon, that's how the sort of status quo shifts in these leagues. Mallorca down there, I think they've won a league title as well. But once your tycoon leaves, if you don't have the sort of infrastructure, you fall. Sevilla, Malaga, both of them down in the 3rd division. So yeah, that is the Spanish league. Then let's move to the next league, which is, well, we'll skip the Premier League. We'll leave the Premier League till last because I think Premier League is the most interesting. German 1st division. This is the most boring one because there's no tycoons allowed because of the 50+1 rule. Nuremberg have just won the league, but as you can see here, there's a lot of Bayern because there isn't any tycoon, so Bayern kind of win. There was to be fair, the first 10 years was quite Bayern free. We had Frankfurt and Köln fighting for the title, and then Bayern kind of take over. Köln are their biggest challengers. Köln are their sort of the 2200s Dortmund, I'd say. But yeah, Bayern are just strong. Nuremberg have recently won a couple though, which is pretty big. As you can see, this is what the table looks like. Dortmund have just got relegated. Dortmund are very good in this save. But yeah, basically, as you can see here, 199 league titles for Bayern. 199. It's a bit ridiculous, isn't it, to be fair? Like, if we go to maybe... What even is the record for La Liga? 122. Like, Real Madrid and Barca are known for being the top ones, and they only have 122. If we go to the French league, what's the French league say? Like, everyone says PSG, just dominate. 76. So it kind of shows how dominant Bayern are in this league. It's just, unfortunately, the status quo can't be shifted, really. I think other teams can. We've seen Dortmund go down. We've seen a lot of these big teams go down. But Bayern just obviously have a grip on the table. Here's what it looks like. We've got some interesting teams. Magdeburg are up, Chemnitz are up, Karlsruhe are up, and then the second division, you got Leipzig. Obviously, they're not as big as they are now in 2015. You got Hamburg, Bremen down here, Freiburg, and then the third division, you've got Leverkusen and Stuttgart, Augsburg down there, Hanover. So the other teams can fall. Just doesn't seem like Bayern can. But yeah, that's the German first division. Unfortunately, one of the most boring ones. Serie A, probably the second most interesting one, I'd say. There's a lot of sort of change. And as you can see, Delta Portatola have just won the league title over Juventus. If you look, you got Pisa up here, Perugia, Latina, Real Vicenza, Atletico San Paolo. They didn't even have a badge in my badge pack. There's a lot of different winners here. As you can see, 22-40, we had Napoli, Milan, Juventus, Inter. Arsenese won their first title. And then, as you can see, Genoa get a tycoon. As you can see, a bit of dominance there. Parma win their first one. Then we go back to Juventus, Fiorentina, Inter. Frau Pisalo win it. Solano win their first title. Lanciano, Aversa Normana, Siena. And then we had Perugia win it their first time. And then Delta Portatola win it their first time. So some really interesting teams in winning the Serie A, and it's just all over the place. Serie B, currently, as you see, we've got Frosinone. They were a tycoon. They won the title before. There's Aversa Normana. They won the league title like 5 years ago. They're in the Serie B now. We've got Chievo down here, Torino, Atalanta, Genoa, tycoon. Now they're in the relegation zone. Don't know why they didn't get relegated, but they haven't. And then we've got Serie C. You've got who else? Benevento. They've won, I think, a title. Parma. They won a league title. Udinese, Sampdoria, Cagliari. Who have we got in the Serie CB? Martina Franca, Crotone. They were in the first division at one point, I remember. And then the league table for the CC, I don't think there's anyone there. But yeah, versus Entella, I think might have been. But yeah, for Italian league, very interesting. And of course, finally, lads, the Premier League, the big one. This is the most diverse one. Hilariously, Arsenal have just won the title again. But as you can see, Arsenal win it over Sheffield United, Whitehawk in third, Luton, West Ham, Stevenage relegated with Man City and Liverpool down there. But here we go. So what happened in 22-40? We had Arsenal just win the title, Derby win the Premier League, then we had Middlesbrough, bit of Arsenal dominance, Bournemouth, Middlesbrough, West Ham, Chelsea win their first in a while, and then this is the start of the Newcastle dominance. As you can see, Newcastle win it a couple of times. Then we have Bournemouth, Ipswich, Chesterfield a couple of times. And then Newcastle just take over for 20 years. They win pretty much, I think, 17 Premier Leagues or something in this time. No tycoon either. This is the crazy thing. No tycoon. They just suddenly became good. And even though their players stolen each year, they just remained good for a really, really long time. Eventually, their grip on the Premier League did slip. And Arsenal sort of have come in and are dominating again. West Ham a couple of times, although our second ever non-league team to win the Premier League. First it was Marine, now Whitehawk with a tycoon win it. They came from the Conference South, I think, all the way up to the Premier League, and they finally won it. Interesting, Newcastle got relegated as well, so they've been down there as well. So Premier League is all over the place. If we look at the Championship, as you can see, Blyth and Southampton coming up with Plymouth. You've got Gosport there, Tottenham down in the Championship. Man United have just been relegated from the Championship. Again, they are probably the worst big team in this save. They have not been in the Premier League for this entire time. Like 50, 60 years now. Basically what's happened is they dropped down into the Championship, and because they still have to pay for Old Trafford, their attendance is like 20,000 and 90,000 seat stadium. So the last time they were in the Prem was 22-26, and they are now a yo-yo club between League One and the Championship. It is incredible how bad they are now. it's insane. So they are really one of those sort of big teams that have fallen off, and it'll be interesting to see how far they fall. Like if we look at the sort of average attendance by capacity, 23rd, 26%. They only have they have sixth in the attendance, but when they've got such a big stadium, have to pay for it. That's a big issue for them. But yeah, then we got League One. As you can see here, Oxford Leicester just got promoted. Middlesbrough won the Premier League. Down there, Everton, Brighton down there. Then if we go look into League Two, we have Marine. There you go. Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest, Wolves. Norwich down there as well. Doncaster getting relegated to non-league. They were dominant back in the early sort of 2060s, I guess. And then we got the Fanair Conference. You've got Swindon. They've won a Premier League as well. Aston Villa down in the conference as well. Around Conference North, you've got, who have you got down here? No one, Bolton, I guess. But one of the big things is Leeds are completely out of the game. They're fully out. Here's the Conference South. Leeds have sort of been back and forth. They're sort of, I guess, one of the known teams that, so they're the Northern Premier League Premier Division. They've sort of been back and forth, and they're sort of, they might get kicked out completely. Sort of, they won't come back at the rate they're playing because, as you can see, they keep just falling out. This is what happens with the Welsh teams, but they're completely gone. But yeah, it's been all over the place. There's been a lot of teams getting relegated from the Prem, to be honest. So if I show you the Championship winners, just see Liverpool been relegated, Man City relegated there. There's Liverpool again. There's Newcastle when they got relegated. Chelsea, Man City again, Tottenham. Like even Arsenal were relegated at one point. The first time ever they got relegated. I think it took them 240 years to get relegated. So Premier League is very interesting. But at the moment we're in a bit of an Arsenal dominance. They are the record holders. They are the most successful club in England. At the moment, 72 league wins. But yeah, so let's go look at the Champions League and Europa League as well. Champions League isn't as interesting because we've kind of dominated it, and as I've shown you before, we've seen some interesting finals though. Ajax have won it. We've seen Arsenal get to a final. Newcastle in their heyday getting to a final as well, but nothing too sort of wacky there. The Europa League is a bit more interesting because obviously we don't play in it. You've seen Shakhtar win it, Twente, Valencia, Middlesbrough went back-to-back, interestingly enough, Fenerbahce, Paderborn, there's Angers winning it, PSG, CSKA Moscow, Getafe, Hoffenheim, Rubin Kazan, Solano, there's Aberystwyth winning it, Sporting, PSV, Dinamo Moscow, Rubin, Lorient, and then just recently Lille. So very interesting there. Also, of course, we have the big tournaments. We have the European Championships. Unfortunately, not the most interesting, but as you can see, 22-40, Holland beat the Czech Republic, Germany beat Spain, Germany beat England, Netherlands beat Romania, Spain beat England, Belgium beat Switzerland, Spain beat Russia, Greece repeated their heroics and won versus Turkey. Ukraine won their, I think, first European Championship. I think it was their first European Championship over Wales. Spain beat England. France beat Scotland. Germany beat Russia, and then Germany beat France. So as you can see, the unfortunate thing with the European Championships, it seems to be you get little teams in the finals, but they always lose. Like we had Czech Republic, Romania, Switzerland, Turkey, Wales, Scotland doing it, and they all just lose to the big boys. Greece and Ukraine are probably the only outliers there. Oh no, it wasn't their first time for Ukraine. They won it in 22-36. But yeah, Romania was very cool, their run. They drew 1-1 through everything and won on pens, and then they lost the final on pens. 1-1. So the World Cup as well. World Cup is a bit more interesting. We've seen some interesting things going on here. We've actually just started the World Cup in China. But as you can see, 22-40, we had England beat Spain. Russia win their first World Cup over Spain. Belgium beat Mexico, who are the new Netherlands. Mexico have got to 5 World Cups without winning once. So they are cursed, obviously. Ukraine won their first World Cup over the Netherlands. And then here we go. We've got some Portugal sort of sadness and Argentine dominance. England beat Portugal with a Portuguese-born centre mid who was captain of England, who had played his entire career in Wales. Hilarious, but yeah, won England a World Cup again. Then Argentina beat Portugal. Argentina go back-to-back versus Turkey. Argentina lose to Portugal, in their third World Cup final in a row. Then they beat Portugal again and then beat Turkey. So Argentina had 5 World Cup finals in a row and won 4 of them. Portugal, meanwhile, had 5 World Cup finals as well, but won 1 of them as they lost to Brazil. And then Ukraine have recently won it versus the Netherlands. And I'm time traveling. I'm in the future here. We've just seen Paraguay win this World Cup. I played this World Cup. Paraguay get out of this group, by the way, of England, France, Trinidad and Tobago, and beat Argentina in the final to win their 2nd ever World Cup. So a bit of madness going on in this. It's very, very good. I love the World Cups and the Euros. We basically, whenever we stream them always, we have like a big 7-hour stream and basically do a watch along of all the big important games. So it's a lot of fun. As you can see, the world rankings, it's sort of similar. You got some interesting teams going on. Like England doing pretty poorly at the moment, but yeah, overall, like if we look at the clubs, it's weird. The clubs are a bit weird. Like you've got Brazilian, Argentinian teams up here that aren't loaded in. It's an odd one, and here's the best players in the world. Basically, what I've found happening is the best teams in the world are the Welsh teams, the French teams, and the Portuguese teams, because they get all of the Argentinians and the Brazilians because of the no work permit issue. So we play Benfica a lot, we play Porto quite a bit, but we also play, as you can see, the French Monaco, Lyon, Lille, Monaco, Angers, PSG. Like we play a lot of the French teams. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think if there's more, literally just ask in the comments and I can look it up. There's a lot of info going on here. It's been a crazy year and a half. I never thought it'd be going this well. I think I've got over 1,000 followers on Twitch now. It was amazing. I've been raided by Zealand twice and Work the Space. Those were incredible days. I've had posts blow up on Reddit, on Twitter about this save. It has been an amazing journey so far, and I enjoy it so much. I have gone slower, I think, than I would have if I'd been playing it by myself, because obviously I want to show what's happening each year with the streams, but I think I've got so much more motivation for the save though, because I get to share all of this cool stuff that happens. There's so many things in the save that I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. But when you get to share it with other people, like Whitehawk winning the Premier League, like watching that happen in real time, like it's so much cooler. And I'm just so grateful for all the people that have watched and followed along in this journey. And we're going to keep going. The world record has got further away. There's also, I know people have gotten to 500 years. They just haven't submitted. That could theoretically happen. My current aim is 500. We've got 50 years in a year and a half. So if we want to get to 500, it's going to be a good 5-6 years. So I'm going to be coming back maybe in a year and a half to do another 50 years. Maybe we'll do 100 years on from that first update. But yeah, if you ever want to watch, I'm on Twitch, Smorry7. I'm on Twitter, Smorry7. YouTube, Smorry7. You're watching on YouTube, so I'd assume you'd know YouTube 27. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me today. I hope everyone enjoyed this. It's been a long one. There's been a lot to update, to be honest. 50 years worth of updates. Like it's quite a while. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's been Alex, and I'll see you all later.